Hi, everybody, from Nelsonville-York High School. It's the 18th annual Rocky Brands Track and Field Invitational, which is presented by C&J Tax and Financial Services and Fred Wolf Automotive. It is April the 4th, 2026. Our director is Joe Higgins. On camera is Charlotte Hurst, and I'm Jim McCumber here on the Nelsonville Media Company. Beautiful day for the Rocky Invitational.
Yes, it is. I know that when you get this early into April, you can sometimes run into some rain and different weather here at the Rocky Invitational, but this is gorgeous today. Should be great for the athletes.
The field events started at 9:30, so those are going on. The long jump, the pole vault, and the high jump, and the shot put and discus.
We've got a shot right now on what we can reach for the long jump. We're going to do the best we can to get around to as many events as we can throughout, but if you've ever been to a track meet, you know that they're all going on at the same time and in a rotation continuously, and we're just going to do our best. Hasn't really been done before, so we're going to see what we can do.
The running events get underway at 10:30. Of course, those participating in the running events are warming up right now. We got our camera aimed at the long jump to our right here at Boston Field. And over to our left, Charlotte Hurst is down around the shot put and discus area, I believe.
Char Hurst has our competitors over at the shot.
There's like 25 schools here today.
That's great.
Participating in the large school for the boys. The large schools, you got Athens, Chillicothe, Gallia Academy, Lancaster, Logan, Parkersburg, Philo, River Valley, Unioto, Washington Courthouse, and Waverly for the girls' large school. It's Athens, Chillicothe, Gallia Academy, Lancaster, Logan, Philo, Unioto, Washington Courthouse, and Waverly. For the small schools, for boys, Alexander, Belpre, Beaver Eastern, Reedsville Eastern, Fairfield Christian, Federal Hockey, Fort Fry, Miller, Nelsonville-York, Rock Hill, South Gallia, Trimble, and Waterford. And for the girls' small schools, Alexander, Belpre, Reedsville Eastern, Fairfield Christian, Federal Hockey, Fort Fry, Miller, Nelsonville-York, River Valley, Rock Hill, South Gallia, Trimble, and Waterford. And we're pleased to have Mr. Terry Young with us, the meet manager. He's been doing this for years.
Since the beginning.
And it was really interesting. The middle school had a track meet over here a couple nights ago, and I was talking to Terry, and he was telling me the history. And I thought it'd be neat to get him up here and to talk about the Rocky and how it all got started. And, man, it's really grown through the years, what you were telling me.
Yeah, it sure has. The initial meeting began back in 2006 when the facility was being thought about and being in the process of being built, I guess. Rocky had approached the school board about donating some money toward the facility, not only the football field, but the track and, the whole Boston field. And one of the athletic boosters at the time was led by Gary Edwards and John Hurd, and of course the superintendent at the time was Ted Byatt, and Coach Boston Jr. All called me in and said, "Hey, what can we do to show off the facility, make some money?" And I said, obviously, we could start a couple big track meets and really make it grow. So the first year we did this was 2008. It was a Friday night. We had 8 teams. So it's kind of odd to see how it's blowing up since then. But it's a Friday night. It rained the entire night. It was miserable.
Good start.
Oh, my goodness, yeah, absolutely miserable. but it was the first time that we'd ever used the full automatic timing system, which was kind of the debut of that. So that was kind of a fun thing, but also stressful. And then, of course, here we are, 19 years later, even though it's the 18th annual because we missed a year because of COVID, of course, in 2020. But now it's grown into what it is today, and I think we have 24 unique teams here today. And each year it just it seems to grow more and more every year, and there's even some times that we have to turn schools away because it's already a very long day, but. And I joked this morning in the coaches meeting, we've already set a rocky record today, and that's with the temperature. Prior to today, all the years, our best temperature has been 57 degrees, and here we are setting up, about 65 or 70 maybe at this point. So we're excited to have the great weather, and I think this will hopefully be the best weather day ever. So,
and of course, we were talking about all the money this has made for Nelsonville-York with the athletic boosters and the school and just everything. It really has grown into a big event and a moneymaker for Nelsonville-York athletics.
It sure has. Easily, I kind of keep track of it myself the best I can, knowing, what comes in is from the teams paying entry fees, and of course the admission at the gate, program sales, all the commissions off the T-shirt sales, all the things that happen to bring in money. And then when you look at the expenses, it's nothing for this meet to make $8,000 or $10,000 a year just for the athletic fund. It's for the school directly, and then on top of that, of course, is the athletic boosters, which run as a concession stand. And I didn't know this until recently, but the concession stand at track and field meets is the largest fundraiser for the athletic boosters, which I guess it used to be bingo back in the day, and obviously that's been kind of phased out, but they really rely on this, and they do a wonderful job down there. So shout out to them. I hear even throughout the year and throughout the rest of the season, I hear about how great the food is and those hamburgers, those half-pound burgers.
Everybody from the other schools talk about those cheeseburgers, and they can't wait to get one. I'll be talking to them a week ahead of time.
Absolutely, yeah, and so anyway, so they do a fabulous job, and of course running concession and it's a lot of work and one of those relentless and thankless jobs, but somebody's got to do it, and the group that's down there, and all the people that help are a big part of making this event the success that it is.
And of course, when you started this has really grown for you too. Now you've put together quite an operation doing track meets. I know. Yeah. And I've heard great things about you, and I think you're a big part of this. Yeah. How efficient you are. I've had other coaches tell me at other schools say this, things like this would usually take till 8 or 9 o'clock, and you're getting it done at 5 to 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Said you're really efficient with how you run. Track meets.
We've been doing this for the timing and so forth. 19 years, I guess, because this was the very first meet that we ever timed 19 years ago, 2008. But just like with anything, Jim, great things don't happen without all the great people involved, right? And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention my nephew, Steve Young. He's a business partner of mine, and he is, really the technology guy, the guru. He's the one who figures out all the technology and all that kind of stuff. I like to call him the brains, and I'm the brawn, but the brawn only from the data perspective of things and organizational things, that part of it. So, but anyway, Steve Young is a big part of this, and of course, all the the administration here at Nelsonville-York, they support it fully. They're always here if they're working the event, whether it's down working the long jump or whoever handling, getting the awards packets together. They're very supportive as well as all the support staff, the custodians and secretaries. They all help out different things. Of course, athletic director now is Jay Klein, and of course, Coach Watkins. I can't say enough about that man. He is amazing, organizing people, getting things together, all the equipment, all the things that are needed to make sure that it takes a lot of people. It truly is a village to run a track meet. I like to compare it to running a wrestling tournament. Most people don't realize how many people it takes to run an event like that. And and if you don't have the people, then the things that it may happen, but it's not going to be efficient. It's not going to be well orchestrated, and it's not going to go off smoothly. And people notice that,
Hey.
and we pride ourselves on, doing a good job, and off the sheets. Sorry, duty calls. Um,
And again, we appreciate you
Sure.
creating a little time for us.
Sure,
I know
absolutely.
you're busy.
Yeah, just a little bit, but we're getting ready to start running events, so I think we're in pretty good shape right now. So, and I should also mention the officials. We have some of the greatest officials here that led by Roger Hostler from Logan. He's been our referee since the first year, which is kind of neat. And he's also a referee at the state meet. So, we have high caliber officials and a lot of the guys working with him. So we really want to shout out to them as well because
Looks like you have about 13 officials here
Yes,
today to
that's-
take care of all the events.
exactly right. Yep. And speaking of officials, I got to put this plug in for the Athens Track Officials Association. They are heavily recruiting new officials, and they actually have a tent set up here today, passing out information. There's a retired official here who's answering questions for people, and they're giving out a $50 gift card. You go down and sign up for it, and they'll put your name in a bucket, and then by the end of the day, they'll do a drawing for that $50. And they're also giving out candy, so it's kind of a way to get people drawing in a little bit. We hope if you're stopping by, stop over and check out the Athens Track Officials Association tent. Our officials are aging, and I'm just afraid someday we're going to look up and we're not going to have quality officials that we need, and they have a wonderful mentorship program. They will pair you up with an older official if you're a new official and let you go around and experience. If you only like doing high jump and you really like that event because your kid did it and you know more about it than you feel like you do a running event, they'll help you, guide you in what you might be interested in doing and teaching you that. So
Yeah, that's
but
great.
anyway, yeah.
And of course, you mentioned all the people involved in this. You probably don't even have an idea how many people. I'm not asking you for a number. I'm just saying you probably just can't put a number on it
Yeah.
because you have, like you said, the athletic department with athletic director Jay Klein, head coach of the track team,
Yep.
Noah Watkins, Wayne Dickin over here
Yep.
doing the PA, and all the community volunteers that help out at the different events and everything going on. And as you mentioned, athletic boosters with their concessions, and
Yeah.
you're the meet manager, and then you have Steve Young is the head timer.
Yep.
I mean, it's just on and on. All the officials you mentioned, and
Yeah.
it's just amazing that all these people. And you mentioned it earlier, and I thought what popped in my mind when you talked about people
Mm-hmm.
is Woody Hayes. He always
Yep.
said you win with people,
That's
and
exactly.
you just do a great job,
Thank you.
obviously, doing this. And I'm just kind of curious, how many meets do you do now? I know I've seen you when I go to the regional track meet and the state.
Yep.
I see
Yeah.
you there help running that.
Yeah, we just last year we expanded to 2 crews. This year we're now at 4 crews. So typically we have at least 2 working every day. Some days 3, some days 4. Of course, I think we're handling 5 district meets throughout the southeast this year. We have 3 regional meets this year, and we have the high school state championships at Jesse Owens the first weekend in June. And we're also doing the 7th and 8th grade state championships at Hilliard Darby May 16th, I believe it is. So yeah, what started simply as here at the Rocky meet, I like to say that that's where we started because that is the first meet, and here we are, 19 years later, and we're now in charge of something so high caliber as the state track meet, and we've been given that honor and to do that, and it's not something we asked to do. They approached us a couple years ago and said, "Hey, we know you do a great job. Would you at least consider coming doing this for us?" And like, sure. After obviously some conversations, especially with Steve, was like, "Yeah, you got to be on this board with this before I am because it's a lot of work, as you can imagine. Just running a meet of this magnitude is one level, And when you get to the state level, it's it's much different.
Yeah.
So it's a different environment and a lot more on the line.
A
there.
lot of people up at
Oh,
Jesse
yeah.
Evans at
Yes,
Ohio State
exactly.
at the state meet.
And then you don't think about it until something goes wrong. It's all eyes are on you. And that finish line, and there's results popping up, and all suddenly there's a delay. And we had this happen at the state meet last year where race was very, very close, and we just said, you know what, we'd rather it be right. We're going to take our time. And it might be 4 or 5 seconds before you see those results. People are you're used to that instantaneous result anymore in anything, and it's like it's a really close race, and the state champion is going to be decided by what we decide, by evaluating that picture and that race, and so we really wanted to, and so immediately we noticed in the crowd people looking around like what's wrong, and it's like, just be patient. We will get it. We want it to be right. And so we, thankfully we have, Steve is our lead timer at the state track meet. We have an assistant there, and then we have a data referee and data and technology referee that works for the OHSAA. So we all, jumped in there and said, hey, let's get this right. Which we do all the time. But I'm just saying even more right because it was within a thousandth of a second. It was that close. So. But anyway, those are exciting times, and back here at the Rocky Meet, I should also probably mention, Rocky Brands, of course.
Yes, what a great sponsor.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Obviously that's then why we named it what we did. They've been a supporter for obviously since the beginning, and they in the initial funding of the track, they donated $500,000. That's 20 years ago. That's probably like $1 million today, right? Today's dollars, I don't know, but so. They really spearheaded this along with the Edwards family, the whole facility, and getting it where it's at today, and we're able to do events like this here. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, again, Terry Young, the meet manager,
Thank
and
you.
it's you just do an outstanding job. And
Thank you.
again, when I've talked to other coaches, they just go on of what an
Right.
excellent job you and Steve do.
Thank you.
And there-
Thank you.
no doubt,
Right.
that's the reason they have you doing regionals and state also.
Well, we like to think we do it right. We're always try to be fair, obviously, and always we go out of our way to make sure that we're doing it right. And if we're not doing it right, when somebody tell us, hey, it's not right, or think about a different way to do it, or whatever it might be. The timing is not as always black and white as you think as it might be, just because of those close races and some of the technology involved in it all. But a common person probably doesn't quite get it all, or probably doesn't understand the magnitude of it, what's involved in it. But just as important as the timing part is the seeding and the scoring and all the data that goes into it. So it's a big things just kind of mesh together, and somehow we make it work. So so yeah. So.
Well, again, Terry, we thank you so much for taking. I know you're just swamped and busy,
Yeah,
and we really appreciate you coming up and taking
Yeah,
a few minutes to talk with us about everything.
Sure, no problem.
And,
So thank you guys for what you do, and I know you guys came out, and also we came out and did the wrestling invitational here back in January, and that was well received, and heard a lot of comments about that. So hopefully, I put word out as much as I can about this being out on Nelsonville Media today. So. Hopefully you get a lot of viewers and a lot of response from it, and things go well. So good luck to you guys as well.
All righty. Thank you. Thanks so much.
All right.
Again, Mr. Terry Young, the track meet manager. Getting the field events are underway here at Nelsonville-York High School. We're about 15 minutes away from the running events getting started. Good shot by Charlotte Hurst.
Getting to see some of the shot throws right now, and not sure where we're at in the actual course of events, whether we're just warming up at this point. Like I said, we're going to be covering as much of all the events as we can. I'll switch back over to our long jump for a moment.
Right now, the boys are competing at the long jump. Right now, a good shot from the discus area.
Jim, you've been involved in some of the track and field events over your time. What got you into it?
I guess it was Terry.
Okay.
He asked me if I would help. Said they needed someone to help with the long jump, and I said, "Well, I'll give it a try." The main reason with the long jump, my wife, when she was in high school at Federal Hockey, she participated in the long jump, and so I got to know a little bit about it then, and so I got involved with helping with the long jump here at Nelsonville-York, and
Been doing it ever since, huh? Once you get in.
yeah. People still rolling in here. Usually once the running races get going here before long, the stands here are usually packed. People still rolling in.
Kind of jumping back and forth right now to our discus and long jump. I know, see Jason Andrews right there, part of the measuring. He's been involved in shot and discus for quite some time with the school. I think he may have gotten out of it for a short amount of time, but then got pulled back in or maybe talked about it. But he does such a wonderful job working with the young athletes here at Nelsonville-York.
Yeah, I think he may still be. I think he used to coach the field event teams while Noah handled the running
Yep.
stuff and the high jump, pole vault, and long jump. While Jason was coaching now, I'm not sure if Jason's still an assistant coach or not. But he always has helped for years with this, and does an outstanding job with it.
Track and field wasn't something I knew a lot about when I was in school, and basketball was everything so I did that year round basically, and but been around covering a lot of different track events over the decades now, and it's been a lot of fun to see these athletes get better over time. We're early in the season right now. There are still some players, athletes, and runners and throwers that are setting PRs, and they're going to get more PRs later down the road. And it's interesting that when we get around the postseason time, how these athletes develop year after year after year. It's again good coaching and good dedication, because these are long days, and these athletes are out here all day and ready to run with them, ready to throw with them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty awesome too to go, as you mentioned, the postseason. Up to Jesse Owens for the state meet. I always like to sit right at the finish line
It's a good spot.
and see some great athletes there.
Just made the final call for girls 4x8. Is that what they said? We got a list here.
Yes. Girls 4x8 meter relay. That will be the first thing to get underway on the races, and then the boys 4x800 meter relay will follow. And everything here today, they're finals. There's no preliminaries in anything. Everything is a final.
Okay. That's good to know.
And naming the officials right now, again, I believe there's 13 of them. Roger Hostler, the referee. Gilbert Hartley, the head field judge. Mick Harris, the starter. Lily Michigan, a starter. Mike Maple, clerk. Mark Michigan, a clerk. Greg Thrapp at the long jump. Bill Schaller in the high jump. Justin Hudnall at the pole vault. Bill Reed at the shot put. Jim Bryans at the discus. Josh Harris, assistant starter. And Larry Meadows, assistant clerk. And we're now going to have the national anthem.